adding or removing. Scale out meaning adding, scaling meaning removing. And also I could say whenever there is a demand on traffic, auto scaling will scale out and scale in. Make sense? Yes? Okay. So here let me put some arc diagram a bit. So should I, okay, let's put here. Guys, for doing auto scaling, definitely we need to have a load balancer, right? Without load balancer, can we have auto scaling? No. Right? We should have a load balancer definitely. And then we have the EC2 instances like this. So here, like this. These are our EC2 instances. So guys, each and every EC2 instance should have the same application or not? Yes. To have same EC2, 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 and we need to have the same application. Remember redundancy concept? Same application here. Nice. And this guy will be forwarding the distributing the traffic to the multiple EC2 instances. And this guy is ELB. This guy is ELB. Okay. And now, yes. And on top of it, we should have auto scaling group. Guys, who will be checking? Okay, how does the load balancer? Remember, load balancer will do the failovers also, right? So on what basis does it do the failover? How does load balancer knows application is down? What is there here? Health checks. Very good. So we have a concept called health check here. Remember all these topics, guys? Health checks. Yes. So health checks, based on the health checks, right? And can you tell me here, guys, who will be doing monitoring? So does the health checks is for the application or for the EC2 instance? Monitoring is for a load balancer is doing the monitoring for application or EC2? Yes, application. So who will be doing the monitoring for EC2 instances? Which service is that? Guys, the services that, CloudWatch. Very good. Very good. So I'll put that here also, that ELB does the health checks for the application, whereas CloudWatch monitors EC2 instances. Very good. Okay. So guys, here, let's say for example, I'll take a normal general example, like, if you take Flipkart or Amazon, let's say for example, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 EC2 instances in the backend. Just imagine they have 5 EC2 instances in the backend, and on Friday they have the Dhamaka sale or Black Friday or something. Can you tell me, guys, these 5 EC2 instances are sufficient on Friday on the sale? Definitely no. So on that day, especially, what we should definitely 5 EC2 instances will not be sufficient, and at that time, yes, scale out will be happening. Yes or no, guys? scale out will be happening automatically. Automatically scale out will be happening. Not only on Friday, guys, if there is any huge demand on this ELB, if there is any huge traffic on this ELB, and if these 5 EC2 instances are not sufficient, this auto scaling groups automatically launch a new EC2 instances with the application. Automatically. And that is called auto scaling group. Why? Because so everything we are putting in the group, and that is why it is called auto scaling group, or in shortcut we call it as ASG, auto scaling group. You're getting it? Is it clear, the concept of auto scaling group, before we jump into a little bit more? Nice. Okay. So in auto scaling group, we have something called 3 very important parameters. Number 1, we call it as, so this means it happens automatically. Yes, it happens automatically. Yep. So we'll see that here, Ashish. We have something here. So we have something called minimum, maximum, and desired capacity. Yes. What is it, guys? Minimum, maximum, and desired capacity. We have these 3 parameters. Okay, guys. Now, how should we take this minimum, maximum, and desired capacity? So minimum, maximum, desired capacity is, guys, for this auto scaling group, okay, let me put it in very simple way. Okay, now you are setting up this load balancer and the EC2 instances. Guys, can you tell me here, initially, okay, you are setting up to a customer this auto scaling group. Guys, initially, how many EC2 instances that you need to have? Just give me some number. 1 is enough for a big company, big one, right? Let's say, for example, initially I'll go with 4. I don't have space for 10 and all. Okay, 3, 4. Initially, how many? I'll go over 4 EC2 instances. That meaning 4 EC2 instances are sufficient to handle my load. Guys, do you understood? On what basis we have selected this 4? Can you tell me that? So initially we need to select a number of EC2 instances. Now, how many you need to have initially for your to support your load, right? These are basically the number of EC2 instances that you desire to launch initially. How many EC2 instances that you want? Based on the requirement. 5. Let's go for to access the application. So based on our load, based on our capacity management, so your manager or your team lead has discussed that, okay, for now 4 EC2 instances are fine. Let's start with 4. And guys, and I have put something called minimum and maximum values. You see, right? We have decided for, right? This is called desired capacity. Desired capacity is how much here? We have decided 4. And I put it as minimum. How many minimum you should have that at any point of time? Let's say I'll put it 2. And maximum, I put it for now here 6. Okay. I'll make you understand what is this minimum, maximum, and desired capacity. Guys, see here now. So what is the desired capacity now here? Everyone? 4. Right? Okay. Now, there is a huge demand on the traffic and scale out happens. Scale out happens like this. How many EC2 instances are there now? 1 scale out happened. 5. And how many EC2 instances are there now? 6. Can you have one more EC2 instance scale out? Right. You said no. That's the right answer. You understood what is maximum now? So the maximum here is 6. The maximum here is 6. So that's the reason whenever the scale out is happening, that will not go beyond the maximum value. That is called maximum. Okay, now. So there is, guys, now, there is no traffic now at the moment. Friday is gone. And then, do you need 6 EC2 instances here when there is no load? No. So what I do is, What this auto scaling do will, it will scale in. How many are there now? 5. How many are there now? 4. How many? How many? Can I do this? No. You understood why? Why? Minimum, I set it as 2. So that is called minimum. Guys, remember, minimum and maximum are boundaries. Minimum and maximums are boundaries. So if you put 2 minimum, at any point of time, auto scaling group should have, whenever this scaling, auto scaling group will have minimum 2 EC2 instances. You understood the concept of minimum maximum desired capacity? Everyone? Simple way? So I'll write it for you here. So the minimum value, who decide? We decide. Minimum maximum desired capacities will decide. Custom, we will decide. Yeah. So the minimum number of EC2 instances that the auto scaling group, auto scaling group should have. Example, minimum, I put it as 2. Okay. Any limitation of maximum, guys, there will be, keep this in mind, there will be a soft limit for everything in AWS. So by default, guys, when if you have an AWS account, by default you can launch maximum 20 EC2 instances. How many? 20 EC2 instances. So that is a soft limit. That is a soft limit. So if your requirement is getting increased, and then you can request AWS to increase that limit from 20 to 50 or 50 to 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 1000, your wish, guys. So 20 is the soft limit. So if you have, based on the soft limit, you need to mention the maximum values. But maximum values also, you cannot blindly go for 1000, isn't it? So based on your requirement, you will analyze, right? You will analyze this capacity management. So you will analyze the capacity management. Based on that, you will be giving it. You cannot chumma go and keep 1000, right? Yeah. So clear, those who have asked that? Okay, here what is maximum? The maximum number of EC2 instances that auto scaling should have. Example, maximum is, I put it as 6. What is desired capacity here? Initially, how many you want? So the number of EC2 instances that you wish or desire, to launch initially, that is called desired capacity. And I would say these two are we call it as boundaries. Guys, clear? Desired capacity is equal to soft limit? No. Of course. Yeah. Ashish, what is that? Not much meaning. Okay, yeah. That is a soft limit. Yeah, you can increase it any point of time. So maximum limit, how much it can be. And if you exceed limit, any message will get. See, you don't get any message. The EC2 instance will not. Let me give a real-time example of what I faced. See, when in our initially, when I was setting up for my company, this auto scaling group, we had already few EC2 instances in our account, and I have set up this auto scaling. And after a certain point of time, auto scaling group is launching the EC2 instance, and it is getting terminated automatically. Auto scaling group is launching the EC2 instances, and those EC2 instances are getting automatically terminated. Why? Later we found that the limit has been crossed. That meaning all my total number of EC2 instances I have it in my account by default is 20 and I have reached that. And whatever the auto scaling is launching EC2 instance on top of it, all those are getting terminated. Then I raise a request to the AWS and saying that, hey, we have a requirement, so please increase the 20 to 50. Then my auto scaling group started launching new EC2 instances. And whenever you reach 50 again, raise a request and make it to 100. So it is not good. It is not good, guys. It is not good to go directly and make it 1,000, because let's say if your account is hacked, there is a chance of the hacker can launch 1,000 EC2 instances at the maximum level, and you will get bombarded with your bill, right? So it's based on the requirement. You need to slowly keep on increasing the soft limit by creating a ticket with AWS. Ashish, clear? Nice. Can we create ELB before creating EC2? Yes, we need to. Dipendra, yes, we need to. I'll talk about that. Yes. Okay, see here, guys. Now we have here 3 types of scaling options. How it will scale. We have 3 types of scaling options. 3 types of scaling options. Okay. Number 1 is we cannot decrease the limit. What's that? No, you cannot. That's what I was talking about. Pratyush. Yes. Everything you need to depend on AWS. Na? You are using AWS. Yeah. So here we have something called manual scaling, right? And schedule scaling, and then dynamic scaling. Yes, so we have 3 types of scaling options, guys. So first one is manual scaling. What is this manual scaling? Manual scaling meaning, guys, if you are going and manually editing it, let's say for example here, if you have desired capacity as 4, what if I went and then edited, guys, after setting up this auto scaling group, I went and edited this desired capacity to 4 to 5. What will happen if I modify to 4 to 5? One more EC2 instance will launch automatically. Yes or no? Right? So if you are going and modifying it manually, that is called manual scaling. If you are manually modifying minimum, maximum, and DC, that is called manual scaling. How about schedule scaling? Guys, schedule scaling meaning based on the periods, based on time period, or a day. So yes. So based on the time period of the day. So if you need to have the auto scaling happening only on Friday, on your Dhamaka sale or Black Friday or festival sales and all, so you can schedule it on Friday at this particular point of time. Hey, automatically your desired capacity should go to 20 and maximum should go to 60 and minimum you should go to 10. So you can schedule it like this. That is called schedule scaling. And dynamic scaling meaning, you don't worry, it's based on the load. Purely based on the load. It is not only for particular day, it is not you are doing manually, it is like purely when there is a load, automatically scaling happening. Based on your CPU, based on your memory, based on your network, etc. Guys, there will be a scaling happening. So what are these called, guys? Here, CPU, memory, network. So remember, these are called metrics. And this we will see in the concept called CloudWatch. Right? When we go to the CloudWatch section, we will talk about this CPU, memory, network. By the way, what are these called? Everyone say this, guys. So what are these CPU, memory, network? All this called as Metrics. What is that? Metrics. You know very well, yeah. For each and every machine, you have CPU, memory. What are these called? Metrics only, na? Right? Yeah. What are these called? Metrics only. So when you are monitoring the performance of the EC2 instance, which is the guy, which service is the guy who will be doing it? CloudWatch. That's why I put it as CloudWatch. Guys, you understand three types of scaling options: manual scaling, scheduled scaling, and dynamic scaling. And one question for you here is, which one is the best out of these three? Dynamic. Very good. So usually dynamic scaling is all the time preferred because dynamic scaling is always ready and on tip, right? On toes, basically. Whenever there is a high traffic received, automatically dynamic scaling will trigger a scale out and scaling options. Okay, nice. And guys, another question for you here is, see, auto scaling group is going and scaling out. Scaling out is nothing but adding a new EC2 instances, right? Adding a new EC2 instances. Yes. So while adding a new EC2 instances, can you tell me how does this auto scaling group know your application to put it inside the EC2 instance? Guys, scaling out meaning automatically your EC2 instance should have your application also, right? Can you guess and tell me how does this auto scaling group will put the application in your EC2 instance? How does the automatically application should will come in your EC2 instance? Excellent, guys. Excellent. Image. Remember image concept? Yes. So the image will have our own applications already. We can create our own image, right? Right? We can create. No, it's not a backup of the volume. Backup of the volume is called snapshot. We are talking about image here. What is image? Yes, the copy of EC2 instance. So can I have application already installed on that image? Can you hear me? Yes. I can't help. There was a power cut issue here. All right. Good, I'm back. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, so we're talking about this auto scaling, right? So, yeah. Can you see my screen, please? Okay. Well, I was talking about this, guys. So, as you rightly said, image is the concept. So, guys, here, first of all, before doing anything, first there should be like, guys, there is something called launch configuration, right? How does this auto scaling group knows what to do? How does this auto scaling group directly doesn't know anything what to do? So it uses something called launch configuration. What is that? Launch configuration. So this launch configuration has all the details. Like, first we will create a launch configuration which has the concept, which has the AMI. In this AMI, you already have the application, and then you will be telling that basically the configurations, what volumes you should have, and then what security group you should have, what key pair you should have, right? What is the instance type, right? What is the OS, etc. Everything, whatever we will be doing it, everything we will give in this launch configurations, right? So usually this will be like this. Yes. So first we will create an ELB. After that, we'll create launch configuration first. After that, we'll create auto scaling group. These are the steps. So that meaning, see guys. First, we'll create ELB. So this auto scaling group will use this launch configuration, and then this auto scaling group will go and then launch EC2 instance to this ELB. Make sense? Right? So all in all, auto scaling group ASG meaning it's a combination of ELB, it's a combination of EC2 instances plus your launch configs plus CloudWatch plus if you want to get some notifications when scale out and scaling happening, what is the service that you choose? Yeah, SNS. Yes, this is a combination. Got that? Is this clear on auto scaling group, guys? Everyone? Nice. So let's jump on into a very important, and that you would know that already. Elastic load balancer. What's that, guys? Elastic ELB. We know about the ELB already, but let us go a little bit deeper on this ELB. We need to learn a little bit even more on this. Okay? So the same concept. So we have the load balancer here, ELB, and then we have the EC2 instances. And the EC2 instances. That's correct. So this is EC2, EC2, and EC2, and this is ELB. And guys, everyone knows, right, why we need ELB, etc., etc. We have discussed quite many times on this. right? On top of it, everyone clear, right? On top of it, if required, if you want, you can have your auto scaling group. If required, you can have auto scaling group. Yeah. And then here we have health checks. ELB is doing the health checks. Health checks. Okay. So guys, here inside this we'll put some application, right? I'll say that application name is some index.html file, right? I'll put that index.html file here. Okay. So what is the status code, guys? What's the status code? 200. Very nice. Okay. We have like this. Fine. So, do you remember that when we discussed about this the ELB will have already a DNS name? Is it, guys, is it recommended to access the ELB with the IP address? No, right? So, no IP address concept. Keep this in mind. So, no IP address. So, ELB has the DNS name. ELB has the DNS name. So, okay, first let me write the definition for you guys here. What is ELB? What is ELB definition? Remember ELB definition? Which distribute the traffic
multiple EC2 instances.
To multiple EC2 instances across availability zones. Yeah? Yes. Guys, can you tell me, ELB is completely managed by customer or AWS?
AWS.
Super. So, ELB is completely managed by AWS. Guys, ELB is a service or a server? Yes, it's a service. ELB is just a service by AWS. ELB is not a server for us. It's just a service. So there is a button called create ELB and ELB will be created. There is no server. Guys, is it possible to log into the ELB or will you access the ELB? You will access the ELB. Access via what? Via this DNS name. So keep this in mind. ELB can be accessed via URL. What is that URL meaning? DNS name. DNS name. So you cannot log into ELB. Who will provide the DNS name? AWS. So whenever you create a load balancer, automatically a DNS name will be provided. You know what? The DNS name will look like this. So the DNS name, it will be automatically generated by the AWS. It looks like this, http:// you give some ELB name. If you give, while creating, you will give the ELB name, like some number dot ELB dot AWS dot Amazon. It will be big. I'm just putting this randomly. So guys, now, is it recommended to give this nasty URL to the customers? No. So for this, what we do is, we'll do the makeup. Where do we do the makeup? Which service you can do the makeup, guys? Which service is that? Yes, Route 53. You guys are fire, man. So here, guys, yes. So for example, if my site name is http://boom limited, right? boomlimited.com, right? boomlimited.com, for example. Yeah. So what we do is, this nasty, we can do this mapping in Route 53. That itself why it is called routing. Route 53, routes, right? That is why it is called routes. So we can easily give the another name for this DNS name. We can just create a record. We can just create a record called boomlimited.com should be forwarded to this nasty URL. And so if anyone type boom limited, first it will hit Route 53 and it will check the record. Route 53, boom limited is pointing to the nasty URL ELB, and then it will go to the ELB, and from here you will get the EC2 instance will be answered to your request. Make sense? Make sense, guys? Yes. And by the way, do you remember in our initial classes how to identify the IP address of the any website? What is the command? NSLOOKUP. Very good. So, guys, can you tell me here, does the ELB has IP address? Yes or no? Hmm? Does the ELB has IP address? So, if you go to command prompts, do you remember I gave this example? If you do NSLOOKUP and do facebook.com, right, you get the IP. And if you take this IP again and put it, you get this. What is this? This is load balancer only, na? Right? So if you hit that, you're getting the IP. So that means this load balancer has an IP, na? Facebook load balancer has IP, right? Definitely, it's if there is an URL, definitely there will be an IP address in the backend. But can you tell me, this load balancer has this IP address. Even if we create the load balancer, we'll get the IP address. Okay. Now tell me, is it recommended to use this IP address of your load balancer? No. And also tell me, this IP address is static or dynamic? Guys, this IP address is dynamic, not static. This, okay, let's see the logic. Those who said static meaning which doesn't change. So that meaning, does the AWS has only one server in the backend for the load balancer? Then, so this is static or dynamic? It is dynamic. So guys, as here, our load balancer, definitely the load balancer has the IP address. Definitely ELB has the IP address. Yes, ELB has the IP address, but those are dynamic. But AWS always recommend to use ELB DNS name, not the IP address, because IP addresses are dynamic. Guys, who will handle these ELB IP addresses? AWS. So guys, if AWS is handling the IP address, okay, who will be the responsible for the ELB performance? AWS itself. So that meaning, guys, for us it is a service. Definitely in the backend, it is a server only, na? It's a service for us, but definitely in the backend for AWS it is a server only, na? So can I say that ELB in the backend of the AWS might have auto scaling also on the ELB level, right? In the backend, because ELB itself in the backend meaning is backend meaning servers itself, right? Yeah, if you have auto scaling in the backend of the ELB, do you have static IPs? No. So keep this in mind. ELB has always, first of all, I'll write it down like this. ELB has IP addresses. Definitely. ELB is not a hardware component like EC2. No. Ashish, I was screaming many times. Guys, ELB is a, do you see that? ELB is a service. Do you see this, Ashish, this third point here, second point? ELB is just a service by AWS. ELB is not a server for us. ELB has IP addresses, but these are dynamic. Okay, there is a question. Would the IP address be not static for one ELB server? This is not making sense to me. Why? How come? No, you will not have multiple ELBs in the backend. ELB will be only one. Rahimuddin. This is the load balancer. Okay. Let's talk about the load balancer. This load balancer is managed by AWS. Guys, we don't talk about the EC2 instances. Okay. We don't talk about EC2 instances because that is managed by us. Okay. Now you tell me, this load balancer, Rahimuddin, this load balancer in the backend, this load balancer is completely managed by AWS. That is sure. Right? That is sure. So this is the service for us. That meaning in the back end of AWS, definitely there will be a servers in the back end, right? Yes? That point is clear, Bhaimuddin? Yes, okay. Now you are telling to have only one static IP. Static IP meaning constant. That meaning in the backend, AWS, ELB backend, you are saying that there will be only one machine to handle the ELB. If you have only one machine, you will have only one IP. That is static. Can you tell me what happened if you get so much of load to this ELB? Will this one EC2 instance will handle it? Raimuddin? No. That means you need to have multiple EC2, multiple servers in the backend handled by AWS, right? So if you have multiple servers, do you have only one IP? The traffic will go ELB in the backend. Sometimes this will take, this will take, this will take. AWS will handle in the backend, having multiple servers. But for us, it is just only service here. But in the backend, AWS might have multiple machines. If you have multiple machines, you will have only one IP or multiple IPs. Multiple IPs. If you have multiple IPs, those multiple IPs meaning there will be auto scaling happening on this machine. Na? So those IPs are same IPs all the time, or it will be dynamic IPs.
Different dynamic.
Dynamic, right? Okay, hold on. But those are server IPs, not static. I think they are trying to say. Definitely server IPs will not be static. Not at all static. So one server will come up and you will have that IP address and that will go off. Another server will come up, that will have a new IP address, that will go off. So that means dynamic only, new IP addresses, that meaning are dynamic. Yes. So that's the reason. Yeah. You got it? Yeah. Okay. Nice. So ELB has an IP addresses, but these are dynamic. So can you tell me AWS recommend to use IP addresses or DNS name? ELB DNS. Always recommend to use ELB DNS name, not IP address. So, and ELB has dynamic IP address. But let me give an let me give in real time what I faced. Okay, guys, your website is nothing but ELB only, na? It is no. It is not organization or company specific. No, you can have multiple ELB. You can have multiple ELBs. Hold on, we have the concepts there, guys. Tell me here. So your website is nothing but first. Not sure whether application is ELB. Not how come your application will be ELB? Yeah? Guys, this is your ELB and you have your EC2 instances here, right? Right? Your application will be sitting over here. Your applications are sitting over here. That meaning, if you touch the ELB, that meaning you are touching the applications only, na? Yes or no? Yes, right? Okay. So if you are touching ELB, that meaning you are touching your applications. If you access your ELB, that means you are accessing your applications, right? You are accessing the applications. Yeah. So now there is a real-time scenario where, you know, I work for a big shipping industry where I work for big ships, right? Big ships which are in ocean, like cargo ship, passenger ships, oil tankers and all. But yeah, so let's imagine there is a ship here, right? Or there is a company. Let's take any ship or company, anything. Yeah. Okay. So guys, the company will have also their own firewall. Every company will have own firewall, right? Okay. Now these guys will say that company guys is saying that, hey AWS guy, or that meaning you guys are handling AWS, right? I'll say that. Yeah, Ashish. I'll tell Ashish. So this customer is telling to Ashish, hey Ashish, I want to whitelist your website IP address in my firewall. Give me the IP address of your website. So what do? So give me the IP address of your website, meaning guys, will you give the IP address of your EC2 instances? Yes or no? No. Because these EC2 instances are in auto scaling, you cannot have the IP address, single IP address. And you have to give the IP addresses of your ELB. But does the ELB has an IP address? Yes. But those IP addresses are dynamic. Those IP addresses are dynamic. Right? And if you want to give the IP address, if the customer is asking the IP address, definitely you need to give the ELB IP address. But AWS is recommending to use IP addresses of the ELB? No. But the customer is asking IP address, but AWS is saying use DNS name. How to resolve this? So what I did was in our case, so I contacted AWS that, hey, AWS customer is asking for the IP address, give me the load balancer IP address. And AWS saying, yeah, no, AWS, ELB has IP address, those are dynamic. But when I went and did the lookup, I got the IP address like this for my load balancer. I gave this IP address to my customer. He added to the firewall. And it started working. Nice. He is able to connect it to this. Maybe after some time, that IP address, as it is dynamic, this IP address got changed. If the IP address got changed, will this work connection? No. Again the connection got stopped and customer started complaining, your website is not working from my company. So guys, how many IP addresses will give like this to the customer? Because those are dynamic, right? So will you lose the customer or will you lose AWS? So you contacted AWS that, hey, now I contacted AWS that, no, customer is asking for the IP address, please give me the IP address of the ELB. So in these scenarios, in these very rare scenarios, so you can create a ticket with AWS. You can create a ticket with AWS, and AWS will give you few static IPs of your load balancer. And you know very well that in the backend load balancer is nothing but they have the servers maintaining by AWS. Yes or no? So if you ask for the static IP address, what they do is this will affect your ELB performance because they will be giving only the pool of IP addresses in the backend. So whenever this auto scaling happening on the ELB in the backend of AWS, the auto scaling will be happening only with these IP addresses. These are static IP addresses which will be managed by AWS. So guys, I'm just giving you extreme requirements. Like I have got a requirement like this and I did like that. So if you need to have a static IP of your load balancer, you need to contact AWS and then they will give the static IPs of the load balancer. But if you get the static IPs of a load balancer, watch out. The ELB performance will be, you are compromising the ELB performance. You understood the topic? Yes. ELB has dynamic IPs. Right? If you need static IP, contact AWS support. They will not implement ESG on ELB. They will implement ELB auto scaling group, but those will be only within the group of servers, same servers. But keep in mind that you are compromising performance of ELB by getting static IP. Guys, is this clear till here, everyone? Nice. Okay, so guys, now let us talk about, there are types of load balancers. Types of load balancer. There are 3 different types of load balancers. Very important, guys. One is application load balancer. Another one is network load balancer, and third one is classic load balancer. Okay, so in shortcut, you can call it as ALB, NLB, and then call it as CLB. Right? So there are three types of load. Based on the requirement, you need to choose the load balancer. I would say, guys, so the most common load balancer that 99% of the people will go for is ALB, application load balancer. Let me talk more about it. As it says, this classic load balancer is previous generation. That meaning old one. It doesn't support much of features. So it doesn't much of features. So basically, these two are latest generation. Which one? ALB and NLB both are latest generation. So will you use previous generation anymore? No. So this previous generation supports, guys, your load balancer supports, guys, load balancer will be hearing on which protocol? You're talking to the load balancer, and load balancer will be hearing on which protocol? Will be listening on which protocol? HTTP or HTTPS, right? Yeah. So here, yes, HTTP, HTTPS, and TCP. It supports all these three, right? And network load balancer works on TCP layer, and then this guy works on HTTP and HTTPS. As it is a previous generation, we don't use a classic load balancer anymore, and we'll be choosing between application load balancer and network load balancer. Guys, as it supports this HTTP and HTTPS, this would be the best choose. ELB is this guy. So best choose or default choose. Default choose is always ALB. And this is also best fit for microservices. That meaning your Docker, etc. If you need to have a load balancer for your Docker service and etc. Docker technology and all, for all most of the things, ALB is the best fit. And when do we use this network load balancer? Network load balancer will be used for when you want extreme high performance. If you need extreme high performance, then on network level, then you go for this network load balancer. And you know what, guys? This network load balancer supports static IP, right? But application load balancer, we have a concept how to deal with this static IPs. If we need to have a static IPs, we'll see, right? So these are the three different types of load balancer what we have: application load balancer, network load balancer, classic load balancer. You should remember this application load balancers works on HTTP and HTTPS, and network load balancer works on TCP, and classic load balancer works on HTTP, HTTPS, and TCP, and we are not going to use classic load balancer. And as this application load balancer is the latest one, and it has a very nice features, and one important features where we can talk about is routing features. Number one, we call it as host-based routing, path-based routing. What is that, guys? Host-based, path-based. There are two things: host-based and path-based. Got that? Yes, can be used. Okay. Guys, understood these three different types of load balancer? We'll go deeper, right? But here in application load balancer, what are the two routing features do we have in application load balancer? Host-based and path-based. What is that? Host-based and path-based. But here in classic load balancer, there is no routing features. I'll tell you what is the difference. What is the problem with the classic load balancer and why do we choose application load balancer? And guys, nowadays, couple of weeks back, they have launched a new load balancer called, I don't remember clearly, Gateway Load Balancer. But you don't need to worry about that because that is latestly launched. Even I have not explored much, right? Whenever we have chance, we'll do that, or you can explore by yourself when we go to the practicals. But you can ignore for now this, right? Okay, let me give an example here. Why we don't we don't use classic load balancer, and why do we go for application load balancer? See, yeah. So this is our load balancer. Okay, this is our load balancer. I'll take PUBG, you only. So these are EC2 instances. Okay. Well, let's take a. This is the load balancer concept that we know. Okay. Okay. So I have here someone is typing http://babg.com. Okay. Okay. If someone typing babg.com, where it will hit first, guys? It will hit our load balancer, ELB. Yes, Elastic Load Balancer, and babg.com application is here, and it works. Fantastic. That's good. Okay, now you tell me, can't we have something like this? It's only babg.com, or can we have http://web.babg.com? We have like this. Definitely, we'll have this kind of yeah. So we will be having this kind of website also. See, babg.com is a main domain. What is this called? These are called subdomain. Can you tell me, guys, as web.babg.com is different, can I send this traffic to this ELB? Yes or no? No. Because here my EC2 instance has babg.com application. But here I'm talking about web.babg.com. Can I send to this ELB? No, I cannot send this to this new one. I cannot send it to this because there is no application there. There is no application there. So for this, I need to create another load balancer. Yes or no? I need to create another load balancer, right? So because I don't see, I cannot have one more two servers like this, and I cannot put it as web.babg.com. Can I put it like this? Definitely no, because if sometimes if you type babg.com, sometimes you'll get web.babg.com, sometimes you get babg.com, which is a nasty thing. So it is not good. So you should not keep like this. No, you cannot do like this. For this, you need to set up another new ELB. Another new ELB. So one load balancer should have only one application here in the backend. So this is the concept of your classic load balancer. So for every application, you need to have a separate ELB. Right? Yes, separate ELB. This is classic load balancer, which this kind of different kind of hosts it will not support. And whereas this, we have something called this. Okay. And let me draw something. Yes. guys. So now we have something called ALB, Application Load Balancer. So in this application load balancer, we have something called target groups. Very, very important. What we can do is we can group the EC2 instances. What is that, guys? We can group the EC2 instances like this. And what is that group called? That group is called target group. What is that group called? This is one target group. This can another target group. This can another target group. And each target group can have different applications. So here I would have just babg.com. Right. Here I have babg.com, and here I can have web.babg.com. Right. And here I can have admin.babg.com. I can have it. These are different. And this application load balancer has a capacity. If someone is coming with http://babg.com, right? So this will take the request. And here in load balancer, guys, in application load balancer, we will configure some rules. What do we configure, guys? Rules. And we have something called here host-based routing. Host-based routing, and we will configure the rules. Basically, we have something called rules. So if someone is coming with the babg.com, this will find out the rule and it will send to this target group. And if someone is coming with http://web.babg.com, right? So, and the request will hit to the load balancer and it will check the rules, and based on the rules, it will be sending to this target group. Guys, and can you have something like this also website? http://babg.com/ they call maps, separate module completely, developers. Can we have like this? Yes. So you can have, this is called path-based routing. If you have something like separate path like this, so you can configure path-based routing on this ALB, and then based on the rule, it will send like this, and from it will send to this target. So guys, this is possible through this application load balancer. And that's the reason why people are not going for the people are not going to the CLB, and people are going to the only ALB, application load balancer. Do you understand the concept of these target groups? Right? These are our EC2 instances. Everyone clear? Yeah. Nice. Okay. So I had only another 15 to 20 minutes topic left on EC2, right? But I cannot take it now. Guys, there is an small information for you. Tomorrow I will not be available. Tomorrow I will not be available. You should excuse me, because tomorrow is my birthday. So I'll not be taking the class tomorrow. My family will kick me somehow, right? Yeah. Thank you very much. So I don't like to say my birthday, but I should tell you the reason why I am not taking the class. But thank you for the wonderful wishes already. You guys are all, you guys are first guys already started wishing me this year. Thank you. Thank you. So that's the reason why I may not take the class tomorrow, and we'll meet on 23rd on Friday. And Friday, what we do is we have only one few minutes class, and if required, we'll jump onto the practicals on Friday itself, or we'll continue with only the theory, and then I'll just give a walkthrough on EC2, and we'll continue from there. Thank you everyone. Please take your photos. Can we change minimum maximum desired values anytime after launching some kind of configuration file? We have to all these details. Yes, you can change it, definitely. You can create, yes, you can change it, Prasad. Once we see this practically, you will understand more. So basically, launch configuration, we need to create it. So in auto scaling group, minimum and maximum values, you can, anytime you can go and change the values. Manual scaling. Sir, can we not do forwarding for subdomain to main domain by routing it? If somebody types subdomain, route to main domain. How? We can do the routing to the application, but how can you change the URL? If you type ansari.com, will it be changed to web.ansari.com? But from the ELB point of view, no. But maybe maybe we have some records. Yeah, we will see this record. We'll see this record concept, mapping concept in Route 53. I'm sorry. There is you can definitely route it, but I doubt on the URL level. But if you want to do it on the URL level, you need to have your own mechanism, like right, web servers, Nginx. You can change it, but in Route 53, you can create an A records, and then you can just point it to from a load balancer from Ansari to Ansari.com. Should we be pointing to the ELB? Like that, you can route it. You can route to the resource and target, but you cannot route it to URL. We will see that, yeah, in Route 53. Let's not get confused here. Load balancing increase. Yeah, without any blink of a problem, Prasad, it will handle it. Yeah. Then, yeah, if you need, you can take this, but otherwise. And the last. Okay, guys. Zoom out. No, that's all. Guys, one can take and you can put it in your WhatsApp group. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So guys, can you give me the final CC for today on this topic? Yes. Great. Smile, yeah? No one is smiling. Good for health. Great. So that is all, guys, for today. And please remember, there is no class tomorrow, only for tomorrow. And we'll meet on 23rd, day after tomorrow. Right? So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you on the day after tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Take care, guys. Take care. Yes, we do have.